All right, since there's a large group, just yell out questions when you have them. We have this small project going on out at the Water Resource Recovery Facility. How many have heard of this project? Everybody, that's why you're here. All right, let's start out with a little bit about, hello, I'm the utility director. I think she covered that. So environmental services, sometimes our department gets confused as being the wastewater plant or the Water Resource Recovery Facility. That's a small part of what we do. We have sanitary sewer system that's connected to that facility that's about 1,100 miles of pipe, 54 sanitary lift stations. We have a huge retention treatment basin that's 30 million gallons. That basin can treat 1 billion gallons a day if it needs to. If the weather gets so bad we can't put everything through the plant. Stormwater, we also cover stormwater. So sanitary sewer is Grand Rapids and 11 customer communities around us, going from Marne to Caledonia to Ada. Just to give you an idea. Stormwater is just in the city of Grand Rapids. There's 11 stormwater stations. There's a little over 400 miles of pipe, 78 miles of ditches and other things. Sometimes people think their backyards are too wet, and so we call that a retention basin. Dan likes to deal with those.
Putting drainage. Can I get back real quick? You mentioned the pumping or the treatment. Is that just primary treatment in that 30 million gallon tank?
And chlorination and disinfections, floatables, settables, disinfection, and it's chlorine and sodium bisulfite. So yeah. So during wet weather, we can go up to 1 billion. We've used that facility. We used it in 2013 for the flood. Most of our sewers were underground. We used it in 2017. We had the river gate at the plant. The plant is actually lower than the river sometimes, so we have to pump the water out. So there's a gate that keeps the water from coming back in. And that gate wouldn't go down all the way in 2017 when the river got up. So during some high weather events, we did use the retention basin a little bit, because we could only put about 70 million through the plant instead of 90. So more recently, last March, energy, lighting, and communications became part of us. So that's the 18,000 street lights you see around town. That's a primary circuit that the city has. It's a pole line and duct system and fiber running around town that we're responsible for. Who knew there was so many street lights? And then air quality, we do that under contract with the state of Michigan. So in West Michigan, around West Michigan, there's 7 air quality devices that we maintain, calibrate, change filters on, and keep running for the state of Michigan through a grant or a contract. So that's a little bit about us, just to give you some scope. But we're going to talk a little bit today about the Water Resource Recovery Facility. We changed that name a couple of years ago so we could start thinking differently about this. Instead of a place where all the waste goes, why not turn it into a place where we recover things, recover resources? The design of the facility is about 61 million gallons a day. We peak out at 90. That's a physical limitation on how much water we can actually put through the plant, that 90 million on any given day. We serve about 250,000 people. There's a lot of meters in the system, about 80,000. And as I said, there's a lot of pipes. So the plant's been there since about 1931. It was nice of them to build it below the river. So as I talk about digestion, I want you to know digestion is not new to the city of Grand Rapids. City of Grand Rapids, when the plant was built in 1931, had many things that were a little ahead of its curve. One of them was digestion right here, the 1931. 4 digesters went in. And at that time, the methane from the digesters ran in a pipe and heated the facility and ran down Market Avenue and heated Market Avenue pump station and heated the city garage. And that continued until about 1954 when the new digesters were built. When I got there in 1997, they were still called the new digesters. So 2 more were built, and them lasted till about 1978. And the problem in 78 became that with so much industrial growth within the city, with metal platers and other things, there were cyanide releases, hexavalent chromium releases coming into the solids, and it was killing off the digesters. They couldn't keep them online, so we went to a system called a low-pressure oxidation system for stabilization. That ended in 96, and that's when we started revisiting digestion again. It's been a long road since then. We tried CMP. We talked about it in the CMP, and we were going to go do it. And then we started talking about, since we're with the Grand Valley Regional Biosolids Authority, that's us in Wyoming, have an authority that brings our solids together and we manage them together. We thought we'd do that. That'd been paying out for a variety of reasons. So Grand Rapids has gone on its own in 2018 and headed into the digestion. I forgot to mention in 54, when they put these new ones in, the methane no longer went down Market Avenue. It went right over to this building, and it ran the blowers for the south secondaries. So until the digesters were shut down, the blowers ran on methane gas. Comprehensive master plan. Every 5 years, we're required to do a comprehensive master plan. It's in our agreement with all our customer communities. And we're just kicking one off as we speak. So it'll be fun. So you guys may know, but we're starting to grow here. And a couple of years ago, people started calling us Beer City, USA. But beer isn't the only thing growing in our city, right? When we did our comprehensive master plan back in 2010, and I'm just going to talk about biochemical oxygen demand. BOD, it's the biggest driver out at the plant. There's other pollutants in hydraulics, but over time our flow has gone down. When I got here in 1997, the flow was about 54 million gallons a day, and today it's about 40. And why is that? Well, part of it is we did a combined sewer separation project. Part of it is we've been outlining sewers, getting I&I out of it. Part of it is we've done footing drain disconnection programs. Part of it is North Kent. About 3 million gallons of flow went away when they built the North Kent plant. So all them things have contributed. Well, and plus you guys at home, what are you doing? You go buy a new washer. Instead of using 20 gallons a load, it uses 3. You buy a new shower head. Instead of it pouring water out, it's down to 1.5 gallons a minute, right? So them are other impacts that are going on. So focusing on BOD, or biochemical oxygen demand, in 2010, this is what we predicted based on population. When we do these predictions in the master plan, it's based on population growth. So that's 2010, and here was 2015 CMP. A little difference. Turns out Grand Rapids is actually growing. More food people are coming in, more brewers, more everything, right? So as I said, this is population growth, but we have this other industrial commercial sector that's growing faster than the population, in case anybody's noticed that. Everybody wants to grow. So who are our surcharge customers? Is those customers that give us a lot of BOD. Here's our pie chart right now. And I can tell you 5 years ago, Founders on Granville was not part of this pie. So they've gone from doing a few thousand kegs a year to 100,000 kegs a year to plan on doing, I think, 1 million this year. So eventually they plan on this being 30,000, not 15. So they're the big players, but everybody's growing. Amway's asked for more space in the system. Some of the food companies, Harsides and others, Coca-Cola, Great Lakes took them over. They're looking to expand, so the list goes on and on. Growth just continues. So our residents, the people that are residents, give us about we allocate about 45,000 pounds a day of BOD to them. Surcharge customers are allocated by permit. That doesn't match our daily average flow, but by permit they can go up to 70,000 right now. The state makes us keep a safety margin so we don't go over that and wreck the plant. State's funny about that. So that's about 17,000 pounds a day. So a few weeks ago we had 30,000 pounds left we could distribute as people wanted to grow and other things. I think that's down. I just signed a new permit, so I think that's down another like 4,000 pounds. So So BOD and the maximum allowable headworks loading, that's the restrictions that the state puts on us. It's been kind of the story of my life since I've been here, since 1997, is this line is the safety factor running under it, so that's where you gotta be. You can't hit that line. The blue is the domestic plus the surcharge allocation, the way we've been running. And then this is the surcharge customers. When I talk about us growing in Grand Rapids and allocating more to businesses. So this is the business line, the commercial industrial. So if you look back here, we almost touched. So we went through a period from about 2003 to about 2015 we invested about 100 million, well, about 2013, invested over that decade about $100 million in the water resource recovery facility. And what we did is we went through section by section and we took all the existing structures, the tanks and the other things as they existed, and we maximized their performance. We changed from coarse bubble diffusers to fine bubble diffusers. Instead of 3/4 inch bar screens, we put in 1/4 inch bar screens. And the list went on and on to things we did to improve the treatment process. So that jumped our allocation up to about 168,000 where it is today. So starting in about 2013, 2014, we started working on controls. We started working on real-time controls, better analyzers, better everything. So we knew what was going on in the plant. So more recently, last year we asked for a higher loading based on our current performance, just from controls, up to 228,000 a year. So that was 60,000 pounds, a day. 60,000 pounds a day just by improving our controls. It was an investment probably under $1 million to do that. So, whereas to get this step was 100 million, right? So just the difference. So it's a pretty good story, but these guys down here in the yellow, these guys, they keep wanting to grow. So the more room we make, the more they want. So what did we do? So we got to talking to founders when they started talking about moving up to, over the next 4 or 5 years, up to 30,000 pounds. So our daily average BOD is about 70,000 pounds, and you start talking about a customer who wants another 30,000, pretty soon that's a pretty big investment. So we looked at those surcharge customers that were near the plant, relatively close. So Founders, Heinz is here. Founders Brewing is there, Valence City. These two are Wyomings. They're really not in the mix. Set Environmental was right next door, 6,000. Coke is here. So we came up with this thing and we ran this pipe down to Founders. Set is currently hooked into it. We're thinking Coke might hook into it in the near future. So that moves those loadings off the head of the plant into a tank that we're storing it in. They're going in that separate pipe. Founders and Set are pumping today. So here's Founders. They started in 2018, turned on the valve, started pumping directly to a tank on the plant. This is their new treatment and pH stabilization area. So what did that do? Well, they're currently discharging, I think, about 10,000 pounds a day of BOD. They're permitted for 15, but their average is closer to 9,000, 10,000. So in that case, that moves that 9,000, 10,000 from here, where we're putting it in the tank, instead of putting it here in our daily process, it moves it to here. So this isn't day for us for BOD loadings, pounds an hour. So you can see at night we're down. So when we get down to this gray line, our blowers are running at minimum. So it doesn't cost us anything to put more BOD down here, but it does here because our blowers will go up to treat it. So we're load shifting, just like you do with electricity, we're doing it with loadings. So we're doing that today. We're shifting Set and Founders from here to here every night. It's pretty cool. So where are we at with biodigestion? Well, we started it in December of 17, seems like only yesterday. And it's going to go here on the plant. This is Market Avenue, City Hall's that way. It's going to go here. There's 3 tanks in the initial phase. The second phase will have 3 more tanks, so it's a Grand Rapids project with a 6-pack long-term. Beer City. You guys aren't catching my jokes. And we plan to be complete at the end of this year. Now, we're saying October 2019, but with all great projects, once in a while you run into a piece of equipment or something that may not show up on time. You might have weather issues that set you back a few weeks. Anybody notice that lately? How many have done projects? So when I say 2019, you guys all know what that means, right? So a digester works much like a brewery. It's fermentation, right? You put the 2 of them tanks are going to be municipal biosolids and work like this, 2 of the 3. So we're going to put solids into that. We're going to keep it about 98 degrees, which happens to be about the same temperature of a human body. So we're going to put the solids back into it that came from the human bodies. We're going to let it sit there about 15 days. During that time, it's going to break down. When it comes out, we're going to have about 70% of the solids that we put into it. We're going to have biogas come off the top in form of methane, carbon dioxide, with some hydrogen sulfide in it. And then we got to put heat in it, and we're going to use a CHP, combined heat and power unit, to do that. So we're going to run a combined heat and power. We're going to make electricity. We're going to make heat for the digesters. And we're going to basically do it like you make beer, except it's the same thing we were doing in 1931. So the third one's a little different. The third tank's a little different. We're going to put in an anaerobic membrane bioreactor, which is a little different. You have less solids in here. It turns around, and these things from co-confounders degrade really fast. It doesn't take 15 days. It takes like a day or 2. So we're going to heat this up. We're going to run it through a membrane to separate the solids from the water. We're going to return the solids back into the tank. The permeate's going to go back to the plant. The reduction in BOD, that 30, whatever them pounds are, 14,000 pounds we're getting from set and founders, they're going to come about 200 pounds loading on the plant. And the solids off this process are going to go into our solids process, the waste solids. So then we'll go through the other digesters. This one also makes methane, by the way.
How big are the solids coming off those membranes?
They're thinking they're going to be between 2 and 3%. So this isn't going to be a high solids tank. The other tanks are going to run at about 8. Well, we're going to input at 8. They're going to run about 6. So this is lower solids. Here's our ground backing back in December 2017. It was everybody there. I was. It was a cold day like a couple weeks ago. It was fun. There's a live cam if you want to get caught up on our project. It's here. It's in my presentation here. And there's a little time-lapse button on it. And you can hit that. You can watch it from not the beginning, but a couple months in to date. Watch it grow over time. You just don't get to see the bulldozers and stuff right at the beginning. So what else are we doing while we're doing this? Well, one of the problems we found out we had when we modeled our digesters is there's a lot of phosphorus and magnesium, and there's a lot of magnesium because we're blessed to have Lake Michigan as our water supply. It's high in magnesium, and it's a natural element in it. And then we have phosphorus from a variety of sources coming into the plant, and we use biological phosphorus removal in the plant, so it doesn't tie up the phosphorus, it stays in the solids. So by modeling, we found out, yes, we're gonna, it's super saturated for phosphorus, so we're gonna have something called a struvite issue, and that's a chemical deposit that'll be on the walls of our pipes and stuff if we don't do something. So there's a phosphorus recovery project. We're about to bid the equipment that'll take the phosphorus out of our return stream and make little pellets out of it that we'll be able to market to fertilizer companies, but we're going to pay that much to do the phosphorus removal and get that much money. So it's not a money maker, but phosphorus is a limited item in our environment. There's only 2 phosphorus mines. There'll be a shortage, so capturing this is a good thing. for two reasons. One, we won't have a struvite problem, and two, it helps the world as a whole with the phosphorus issue.
You have a phosphorus limit too. You can't have that in your waste stream.
Right, we have phosphorus limits both on land applying sludge and on going out the back of the plant. So, right, and it helps us too, but I like the other ones better. So the other thing we're going to do is the EPA has this thing called the Renewable Identification Number, and that's for renewable natural gas. So coming off the digesters will be this biogas, which is not suitable for a pipeline, so we need some gas cleaning equipment. We're going to clean it up to pipeline grade. So this is the WRRF. We're going to clean and process it, and we're going to inject it back into DTE system. They're going to pay us the commodity rate for the gas, and they're going to pay us what's called a renewable identification number. It's going to generate about 6 million, about net about $4.3 million a year for the sewer system to help the ratepayers and offset the cost of this project overall. And then what they have to do, DTE has to dispense it as CGN in the as compressed natural gas for vehicles in order to get to capture them RINs. So it's a renewable energy trading thing on the EPA's website. It's very interesting. It reminds me of Bitcoin or something, but it looks like it's going to work. Right now, and this is still my presentation, sustainability plan, where we talk about the 4 pillars, and we've been doing this a number of years. So lately we talk about economics, so I've talked about the economic benefit, right? The region, Grand Rapids is going to grow, we're making space so we can have new industry, we can take on new customers. Talked a little bit about social, we're going to bring in some money, we're going to reduce the cost, it's going to have an effect on the affordability of our system for everybody. It's going to be a benefit because phosphorus is going back. We're not taking it out of the environment, we're putting it back. A lot of social things going on there. Environmental, it's beautiful, right? Renewable energy, phosphorus recovery. So we're hitting it all there. But then we hit governance. So like any great investment that the government makes, you know, we can build a new road, we can build a new digester, we can build something new, but 20 years from now, how are we going to take care of it? We went through that in Grand Rapids in our roads a couple of years ago, right? We voted to spend money, get our roads good and fair, and we all invested in that. So this is an investment in our future, and the governance comes right out of some of the revenue we're making from it, and it comes out of the sewer users, and comes out of our long-term commitment. Now, if we were going to do it different, the other way we could have done this is if we said we were going to have 30 or 40,000 more pounds of BOD a day, we could have built another train there at the Water Resource Recovery Facility. So all in this project, with all its parts right now, we're thinking it's about 70 million. I can tell you a few months ago, I thought it was much less till the bids came in. But that's a whole nother story. So the cost, we were estimating 100 to 120 million for that third train. If those bids had come in like our bids for this project, would have been much more.